The release of Orchid Fusion 2.6.2 brings some changes to the notification feature, so we're going to take a moment to provide a detailed look at using notifications. The notifications feature is all about making sure that someone in your organization is alerted when a potential problem is detected. With early detection and action, you are better protected against video loss. ipconfigure recommends that you use the notifications feature, so let's see how it's done. The first thing you need to do is identify a simple mail transfer protocol, or SMTP server, that you can use. This server is the device that will actually send the email alerts. If you don't currently have access to an SMTP server, you can try the Mailgun relay service, which is easy to set up and inexpensive to use. Let's take a quick look at how to get started with Mailgun. Using your web browser, do a search for Mailgun or Mailgun SMTP. When it shows up in your list, click on Mailgun SMTP Services. Then click the Try It Free button. Complete the form with the requested information. You'll need to enter your credit card information, but don't worry. They won't charge you unless you go above 10,000 emails and 100 validations each month. Click the I'm not a robot checkbox. Double-check the plan you want to use. The Concept Pay-as-you-go option is free to start. Then click the Create Account button. Double-check your plan again, then click the Go to Dashboard button. The Mailgun preliminary dashboard page will appear. There are a few more steps that need to be completed, so we'll walk through those. First, switch over to your email and look for a message from Mailgun support. Confirm the email address that you provided by clicking the link in the email. You will then be sent to another screen. Here, you will need to enter a mobile phone number that can be used to further verify your account. Then click Send Verification Code. Go to your phone and view the text from Mailgun. It will contain the verification code that you need to enter in this box. Type in the code, then click Validate. Now you are back at the dashboard screen that is basically an overview page for your account. Go to the sidebar and under Sending, click on Domains. This screen lists the domain that you can use to send emails. Click on the domain name link. At this screen, you'll need to choose SMTP by clicking the corresponding Select button. Now you can see the account credentials that you'll need to set up notifications in Fusion. Okay, there's one more thing you'll need to do in Mailgun. You'll need to set up at least one authorized recipient. The easiest thing to do here is to add yourself as an authorized recipient. So, click in the email address field and enter your email address. Then click Save Recipient. Switch back over to your email and look for another email from Mailgun. To confirm your email as an authorized recipient, click the I agree button. So now you have an SMTP server. It's time to switch back to Fusion to set it up there. At the notification screen, click the Add SMTP Server button. Enter a unique name for the SMTP server name. Then, in the SMTP server address field, copy the SMTP host name from your Mailgun credentials and paste it into this field. You can also add a colon and the port number at the end. If you need to add transport layer security, mark this checkbox. But keep in mind the server you're adding must support a secure connection for this to work. Then copy the username and password for the SMTP server from your Mailgun credentials and paste them into these fields. If you want to double-check the server, click the Send Test Email button and send an email to yourself. Then check your email to make sure it worked. When you're done with SMTP settings, click the Save button. Now let's move on to configuring the actual notifications. You can really set these up any way you want. As an example, you can group multiple trigger events and multiple actions into a single notification, as long as you intend to send all of the alerts to the same person or group of people. We'll run through all of the basics so you can see how it's done. Click the Add Notification button. Enter a name and a description for this notification, and then mark the Enabled checkbox if you want to start using this. Next are the notification triggers. If you scroll down through this section, you'll see that the system already has 3 notifications ready to go: Camera Unreachable, Server Unreachable, and Server Error. If you want to use all of these, that's great. Just take a look at each one and verify the settings. You also have the option to change any of these or remove them. If you don't want to use the Camera Unreachable trigger, click the Trigger Event drop-down list and select another one. We're going to stick with the Camera Unreachable trigger. Next, decide how long the camera must be unreachable before the system sends an email alert. Enter this time in the first minutes field. Then, decide how long the camera must be back online before the system will recognize another camera unreachable event. Enter this time in the next minutes field. One quick exception to note here: cameras that become unreachable because their server has become unavailable will not send alerts. A server unreachable trigger event would explain the loss of those cameras. Now you need to select which cameras you want to monitor with this alert. If you want to monitor all or almost all of the cameras associated with this Fusion system, click the Any Camera checkbox. If there are any cameras that you want to exclude from this notification, click in the Search field. Notice that you can then select a server and all of its cameras, or individual cameras. If you prefer to select individual cameras, unmark the Any Camera checkbox. Then click in the Search field to select those cameras. When you're done with settings for this trigger event, click the Done button to save it. If you would rather eliminate this trigger, click the Remove button. Scroll down to the next trigger event that the system has provided, which happens to be a Server Unreachable event. If you don't want to configure this as a Server Unreachable event, just select a different trigger type from the list. We'll stick with the Server Unreachable event. First, decide how long the server must be unreachable before the system sends an email alert. Enter this time in the first minutes field. Next, decide how long the server must be back online before the system will recognize another Server Unreachable event. Enter this time in the next minutes field. Okay, now you need to select which servers you want to monitor with this alert. If you want to monitor all or almost all of the Orchid servers associated with this Fusion system, click the Any Server checkbox. If there are any servers that you want to exclude from this notification, click in the search field. Simply click on any server name to add it to your exclusion list. If you prefer to select individual servers, unmark the Any Server checkbox. Then click in the search field to select those servers by server name. When you're done with settings for this trigger event, click the Done button to save it. Scroll down to the next trigger event that the system has provided, which happens to be a server error event. If you don't want to configure this as a server error trigger event, just select a different trigger type from the list. We'll stick with the server error. The first thing you need to know about the server error is that there are many things that can cause a server error to occur, but these are generally broken into 3 categories. A server restarts, a server enters a degraded state, or a server stops writing video files. In all of these cases, the Orchid server is not saving video files for some period of time. The alerts are intended to make this time period as short as possible, so the event results in the least amount of video loss. And by the way, the server degraded state events can only be detected on Orchid servers running version 2.4 or greater. Okay, first decide how much time you want to add as a buffer between server error alerts. Enter this time in the Minutes field. Even if multiple server error trigger events occur, the system will not send alerts more frequently than this setting allows. Now you need to select which servers you want to monitor with this alert. You'll do this just like you did with the server unreachable alert. So you can select all or some of the servers. When you're done with the settings for this trigger event, click the Done button to save it. Now you've come to the end of the notification triggers that the system sets up for you. If you want to add another trigger, click the Add Another Trigger button. For our sample notification, we're going to add one more, so we'll select an I/O error trigger from the list. An I/O error will occur if the system detects that video files for a selected server cannot be written to the disk fast enough to complete the write. First, decide how much time you want to add as a buffer between I/O error alerts. Enter this time in the Minutes field. Even if multiple I/O error trigger events occur, the system will not send alerts more frequently than this setting allows. Now you need to select which servers you want to monitor with this alert. You'll do this just like you did with the server error alert. When you're done with settings for this trigger event, click the Done button to save it. If you want to add another trigger, click the Add Another Trigger button. Since we've covered each of the notification triggers, we're moving on to actions. First, we need to select the timing for the notification. We can select either Immediate Email or Daily Email Digest from the drop-down list. With an immediate email, a notification will be sent as soon as a valid trigger event occurs. All of the selected recipients will know right away that there is a problem that may need attention. So this is a great choice for people that are responsible for maintaining servers, cameras, and networks. With a Daily Email Digest, a notification will be sent once per day that summarizes all of the trigger events that occurred within the previous 24-hour period. Here's the best part. A Daily Email Digest will be sent each day even if no trigger events occur. This offers reassurance that the system is working. As a best practice, IPConfigure recommends the use of the Daily Email Digest to cover all of the notification triggers. If you select the Daily Email Digest, a time field will appear. Enter the time that you want the system to send the email alert. Notice that the system is using Eastern Daylight Time. Next, we need to select recipients for the email alert. Take some time to consider who your best recipients are for immediate alerts versus daily digests. Click in the User field to select any Fusion user as a recipient. Click in the Permission Groups field to select entire groups as recipients. Click in the Emails field to send the email alert to someone outside of the Fusion system. The last setting for the action is to select the SMTP server that will be used to send the email alert. If you have only configured one, the SMTP server will already be selected for you. If you have more than one, select the server from the drop-down list. If you want to include a custom return email address with the alert, clear the SMTP from address field and then enter a custom address. When you're done with the settings for this trigger action, click the Done button to save it. If you want to add another trigger action, click the Add Another Action button. When you're done with notification settings, click the Save Notification button. The new notification will be added to the notifications list. Now, if you decide you want to edit or remove one of the notifications, then select the Edit button or the Delete button. There are so many ways to combine trigger events, trigger actions, and recipients that we can't say which way is best for your organization. What we can say is that if you take the time to configure notifications and respond quickly when alerted, you will be better protected against video loss. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please give it a like. To see more videos on Orchid Core and Orchid Fusion VMS plus related content, subscribe to this channel and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.